The Christmas bird count is one of the earliest examples of a large-scale citizen science project. From its inception, it has relied on volunteers, birders of all skill levels, to gather data on bird populations. For the Kingston Field naturalists, it has become a central part of their conservation and birding activities.
In North America, there was an activity that they used to have around Christmas time called the side hunt. And this involved, on a given date, teams would go out and shoot as many living things as they could and pile them up. And the team that had the greatest pile got a prize or something. And, some of it they were eating the large bird, but, when you shoot sparrows, you're just doing it to kill them and make your pile bigger. So there was an American ornithologist named Frank Chapman who thought he took a dim view of this, but he knew you can't make it go away, you have to provide an alternative. So he came up with this idea of the Christmas bird count instead of the Christmas bird hunt. And the first one was held in 1900. And it was held in 15 cities across North America, including Toronto and Canada. And I believe there were 17 people involved. So they're mostly single individuals going out. But it sort of caught on to the point where, this year it's worldwide. It's increasingly worldwide. It's really become popular in Central and South America as well. And we have, if I've counted correctly, 106 Christmas bird counts in Ontario this year.
The expertise in identifying and recording bird species is crucial to the scientific reliability of the field naturalist bird count data. The information they collect is shared with the Audubon Society and other organizations contributing to broader studies on bird populations and environmental changes.
The club does a lot of stuff besides just birding, but the birding aspect to me is so important because you're keeping track of what's happening with the bird population. And it's very clear now that species are in trouble. Many species are declining. There's a food chain out there. It's totally all connected, and if you took out any of the species in there, you're going to affect that.
The Kingston Field naturalists use the count as an opportunity to engage the community in nature and bird conservation. Through their involvement, they inspire both seasoned birders and first-time participants to develop a deeper connection to local wildlife. They also play a role in educating the public about the importance and need to monitor changes in bird populations as indicators of ecosystem health.
For one thing, it's sort of a focal point for conservation activities, because we've always had a conservation committee. We have a member sitting on the city's conservation sort of board, and because when people are concerned about something, then they need sort of a focal point organization where they can get involved if it's necessary. Now we're not highly political. We're not actually allowed to be by current regulations of charitable organizations, but it is part of it. And the other part of it is we have an information line, and get lots of questions on that. People saying, "I've got all these crows in my backyard. Is that normal?" And if people are kind of interested in the natural world but don't really know how to start out, we do, for example, in May during conservation, sort of big migration month. We do bird walks on every Wednesday in the morning and the evening, and they're geared to beginners, people who've never been birders. We just go and say how do you know that's a cardinal? This is how, and sometimes it builds an interest, or at least gives people an idea of how to go about looking at birds.
There is often interesting or rare bird sightings during the Christmas bird count. These findings help raise awareness of local conservation challenges and also contributes to understanding how local habitats and climate shifts affect bird species, both resident and migratory.
They do it the 3 weeks around Christmas, first of all, because migration is pretty well stopped. So any birds you're getting are not moving birds, right? So if you count them here and you count them, they've got the numbers so they can tell when the numbers are dropping. It helps us to know where protection needs to be, right? You need to know where they're migrating to. You need to know, you've got to have statistics to show politicians that 80% of our songbirds have died over the last few years because grasslands are no longer grasslands. It's trying to have something to prove why it's important. They call Christmas bird count the largest citizen-run scientific data in the world. Like it just covers North America, but it's expanding, and it's an interesting thing to do.
For WPBS Weekly, I'm Gail Paquette.